I don't want to change the graphics in case everything crashes. Anyway, we are good to go. Got almost everything set up. I'm getting into the groove of casting after some technical problems really threw me off. In the bottom right, we do have Team Liquid's Clem. In the top left of Taito Citadel, it is Solar. Solar defeated Bjorn in a damn good TVZ. I don't think I was giving it the best casting, having all the distractions up that I have. But hopefully you can focus in. Fresh TVZ here. Still new maps as well, which is, you know, just gonna say it, like, you know, some of the finer details of some of these games might be missed because I'm looking at the map. This map has cool design. Tons of open space in the main. Natural, pretty large wall. Thinking for the Protoss. That seems like a really large wall. Wait a minute. Really? Wait, like gateway. Is that has to be a 3-building wall off for the Protoss, right? That can't be 2 buildings and a pylon. This seems really big. Anyone know? We don't have a Protoss. For once, we don't have a Protoss in the game, am I right? But seriously, this seems like a big one. Not quite Daedalus Point, which, if you don't know, was probably the memeiest map for Protoss walls. But seems pretty big. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, like, what was actually better, you know, 10 years ago, isn't it? On the topic of nostalgia. Clem actually has CV scouts, by the way. Maybe just including it in CVZ nowadays. Solar's not particularly cheesy, so I wouldn't have said that. Maybe, like, the maps. He wants to know... I don't know, maybe... Like, the SCV scout could even just literally be for, like... seeing how the SCV moves through the map. Or, yeah, or he's playing super safe. Whatever. But this is, what was I talking about? Shit. Oh, I was talking about nostalgia, but now I'm looking at the map and the rush distance. It also seems like a pretty big map. Right? How did that do that? It went, like, up there? And then through... Oh, what's going on in here? There's a forest going on. There's a forest. Covering the Zelnaga. Okay. No bases around it. This is a... big gold base corners, gold base. Oh, it's asymmetrical. Ew. Interesting. This isn't a corner base. And this isn't a gold anyway. Ew. And there just doesn't seem to be that many bases. Well, I mean, it's still 6 bases per person, and then 2 shared bases. They fight over these bases. So that actually is pretty normal, but it still seems like... I guess it's just so much space where there's no base. There's just all this space here, for instance, through the middle, where there's just no base anywhere close. Presumably the Reaper hasn't done a whole lot. No, actually 0. 0 damage done. We'll get a Protoss eventually. Although versus Zerg, I'm not sure, but we will get a Protoss eventually, and maybe on this map. Reaper finally goes down. It's a little bold to go back in there. And it looks like a 4 Hellion opener. Before swapping off, third CC is done and getting up to that 2-1-1 situation. So very macro. And Solar is doing something similar. Solar did add on mutas in the last best of 3, but I think it might have been map particular. I don't know. The muta, the Spire changes have really encouraged that much more muta play, but if a map kind of calls for it to a certain degree, go for it. Does this map call for it? I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing it. We are getting a lair, Baneling Nest. Be awesome if muta's made its way back into the meta. But I don't think this would actually be that great. Attacking the natural is not that easy. Attacking the main actually is not that easy either. Kind of covered by the third as well. A lot of space here though. Worried about like doom drops in TVT. Which we don't see. We don't see at all. Because certain Terrans play Protoss when they face other Terrans. Apparently these are rocks you can break down. I don't know if that would be a situation that Solar would want to break down. for the other access? I don't know. He's keeping them up. He is keeping them up, so it's not nearly as obvious as some of the other maps where you do just automatically break these rocks. Apparently, there's also some over here that creates more of a choke. Queens are... Okay, maybe the queens meant to kill the rocks. I don't... They suddenly went on a trip. Maybe there's a little bug. I don't know what's going on there. Now they've shift queued back to a much safer location, but they are going to be late to helping these queens against this drop. So whatever happened there is going to have to do it again. Oh, what is going on? Oh, what is happening? Oh no, Solar's going to be so annoyed by that. Because the queens are almost certainly were not supposed to be there in the first place. He must have told them to go down here, creep spread, and then wanted to creep spread over here. And that's why they were here in the first place. But yeah, oh well. Even trying to control them additionally while defending, he still didn't get them to go the right way. 2 medevacs, though, are pushed back, regardless of the queens being total losers. And that is important. Solar does not take much damage from that, if any at all. Lost a queen, 7 lings, an overlord. Not too bad. Second factory on the way here for Clem. 4th CC, not yet, but should be the case. Yeah. No 8 racks. And there's a little more pressure on this top side. Seems to be the point of attack. Clem clears up the creep spread. Loses his Hellions, 2 of them anyway. Clears up the creep spread now. Attacks there later. I would say this map does not really have a very clear expand and push avenue for the Terran. Some maps you look at it and you're like, well, I clearly expand there, and then push there, which did happen in the last few maps we've been seeing. This map, I don't think so, because the middle of this map is just so open. Yeah, there are chokes and there's all this going on right here, but it's not anything important that you're pushing into or taking for yourself. So this could be, you know what, it kind of reminds me of... Oh, man, but I wouldn't remember the name, would I? There's a very large map back in 2020. It was played for Katowice. And it was a desert map. Well, it reminds me of that map, but there's also another one that it reminds me of. I think that was more like 2024, where like the Cyclone versus Cyclone shit was happening. Not super important, but more so these maps meant that the Terrans didn't really do a lot of these super aggressive big pushes through the middle. They did tend to go into these very much longer games, where the Terran would even, I dare say, turtle more. Because it was so difficult to actually, again, protect your base while also pushing into the Zerg like you would usually want to do. Little double-double action going on, of course. Clem trying to keep tabs on the Zerg and their bases, but even as he does rally more units up to this top side, Solar has been able to push out a lot of creep spread. Once this base up and running, and that's, I guess, where Clem could also attack into, but he continues attacking up to the north with using the chokier choke. I don't know. Maybe Clem is also like, where the hell do I push? Like, how do I do this? Because you can't just ignore... You can't just run past this, right? Because if you run past this to set up here... well, I mean, then the Zerg would have to be going through this choke, and I guess that is the plan. It seems like a dangerous one, but that is the plan. Solar, you know, he's got to try and at least coming from the backside, he would expect. He's going to go for a run-by. 4th base, not yet a planetary, but just about to be, so this won't do a lot of damage. And Solar already withdrawing. It isn't all of Clem's army on the top. He is also attacking to the left. Lots of creep spread here. But still difficult to react to this fast. And oh boy, this is not looking very good at all. Oh no, the drones! So Solar's trying to take this gold base. And he is going to be punished for it. And more than that, he's going to start to lose the game. Yeah, that snowballed. That snowballed. 60, 70 supply difference at the end. Wow. Like I said, I mean, we're going to be paying attention to some of the map dynamics, but... Yeah, if a Terran gets to that location, that top right location, not the left location, that is difficult for the Zerg to break. And I guess that is the question, is like, do they get there or are they intercepted out in the big open area that is the middle of the map? You know, if they are, then maybe that benefits the Zerg, but then Zerg is typically more defensive for so much of ZVT, that they're not going to easily be able to stop the Terran forces from getting to that choke. Interesting. It's fun for us to watch. Frustrating for the players. In that case, absolutely more frustrating for the Zerg. Terrans do tend to get the benefit of new maps. Or there it is, you know, super abusive tank positions. Or, I would say just the way that they're able to kind of control the narrative for a little while. As the kind of aggressive race in the early to mid game. Certainly in this matchup. Somewhat in TVP still. But that was probably the most frustrating map for Solar that we've seen, like an obvious frustration with those queens and the movement of them. Yeah, that could be a sore point in the future too. Well, we'll see. Top right Clem, bottom left Solar. This is also going to give a glimpse to all these professionals. This, their feelings on the map, their initial feelings before it gets onto the ladder. Before it gets to be an even bigger tournament. I'm guessing Solar didn't like that last one. Screw that map, I'm not choosing that again. We're on Old Republic, which we saw in Beyond vs. Solar, but it was the map that I was unable to pay much attention to. Paying attention to it now. What do we got here? Natural is so much space in the back. What is up with that? What are you just asking for Nidus rooms? Fuck. And then ramp, but not on the actual natural. Over to the third. Just decent distance away from the third. This is where Beyond was able to get his fourth and his fifth. So it was the second map, maybe? Maybe I was paying attention to this one. It says the Rush Vespian Geyser. Corner base. I think this is game 2, actually, of Beyond versus Solar. Solar is able to win. Oh, no. It doesn't matter. We're going to see what it looks like in Clem versus Solar. I mean, Clem and Beyond, they can do similar things. Terrans, I'm not going to say limited on their opening builds, but a lot of them choose to do the same opening build, which is 3CC. 2-1-1, fairly popular. If not that, then a 1-1-1. And Solar, I don't think will be very eager to even try and cheese. I mean, Solar can throw in cheeses. You can throw in roach play. You can throw in muta play, as we saw. But it is kind of more difficult to, I think, to throw in the cheese as a Zerg player on new maps. As a Terran player, again, I think maybe you get the benefit of new maps when it comes to cheesing. Because, for instance, if you do decide to proxy 2 racks or 3 racks, it's far less likely the Zerg will know the likely locations. Once they know the map, they'll send their Overlord in the right space at the right time and all that, but on new maps, not so much. Engineering Bay block the third? Okay. I think this is especially cruel on new maps, even if it's a map that has an okay other third to take. It just is still, you know, they're all... The players are already trying to, like, figure things out on the fly to a certain degree on new maps. And then to do it on a map that does not have a very accessible second, third. That is actually very mean. It's mean, Clem. It's mean. Not gonna lose his Reaper either. That's also mean. Give Solar something. Throw him a fucking bone. Come on. This was a 2 Reaper opener, by the way. Didn't even notice. SCV does leave only after blocking the hatchery forever. He's gonna wait till the very last second. Yeah, this is a big delay. I mean, this is effectively probably very close to if you had like 2 racks open on the offensive. You know, the 2 racks opener into 3 to 5 Reaper. That is, our player has to respect and also has to default delay their third hatch. Probably similar effect to that, which means Solar isn't totally out of his wheelhouse, muttering and cursing the Terran for already winning the game, but it still, I would almost be certain, very annoying. Third base now underway. The 4th base is here, I guess. But again, you're expanding towards your opponents. That wouldn't be super ideal. I'm going to guess it's going to go here. Clem opts for another 4 Hellion opener. No, he's going to go up to 6 because he is grabbing a Banshee, although he's supply blocked, which... alert the presses. He mistimed the command center, I think. I think that was supposed to give him the correct supply. And then, of course, he built spot depots after that, but I think he mistimed the command center. It's not Clem. It's not Clem. It's an imposter. No. Whatever it was, it is now rectified. 6 Hellions and into the Banshees with speed, which seems to be the new hot thing. Cloak is so old. Cloak is the boomer upgrade. I think we'll go back on the Cloak at some point. I've not been very impressed with the speed Banshee plays in any matchup so far. Like, they're about as impressive as Cloak was, which is that sometimes they seem to do a lot of damage when they shouldn't, but most of the time they don't do a lot. So I'd say that, yeah, that pretty much sums up Cloak and the speed Banshee as well. And they're just two different ways of using the Banshee, so I don't know. But clearly the people are liking the experimentation with the speed Banshee, and more power to them. Maybe this will be the de facto upgrade. Maybe it'll change, but we got a change up once again from Solar. He's gonna go into the Mutas on Old Republic. This is not the map he did it versus Beyond. But he liked the game, maybe. Queen, this one was just out on her lonesome. Next 2 queens come top out, but yeah, Queen's alone not going to take care of this. Ling's forced to make an appearance, microing against it while also microing at home. Clem is going to be able to save the Hellions, use the corner. Yeah, not going to save all the Hellions, that's for sure, but he also had to deal with the drop, the run by in the natural, which he did. 4 SCDs were killed, maybe a couple of Marines, and it looks like 2 Hellions and a Reaper were able to escape. For Solar, did he reveal Mutas? Nope. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. No way that Clem knows that Mutas are on the way. So he will not have missile turrets. Solar is going for this 3-base Muta. Not gonna give him a lot. Banshees make an appearance. Don't they wish they had Cloak now? And not that this is usually the dynamic anyway, but if you are a Muta Banshee game, Banshees with Cloak really are necessary against Mutas. Not because they can't grab an Overseer, but because if you get speed then after, what the Mutas, what the Banshees then outrun is the Overseer itself, not the Mutas. So, yeah, just speed doesn't cut it. This is an aggressive maneuver from Solar, by the way. You know, this is not the same type of Muta build that he did versus Beyond, where it was kind of macro, basically, Muta. This is attack Muta. No upgrades, no 4th hatchery. Honestly, very limited gas. No gas at his 3rd base. This is all in. This is old school, even. I don't think Clem is prepared for this. He was already surprised by the Mutas. He does react about as fast as humanly possible, though. Picks up his Marines on the left side. Walls off the right side. Now can go for a little bit of a split. 3rd CC can take some damage, and the SCVs, well, they might have to be forfeit, but for the greater good. Solar is on such a low economy that Clem can really sacrifice quite a lot, just as long as he survives. Great with a Mun shot to help, too. And that is actually going to force Solar to tap out. He knows that everything else is about to be cleaned up. The Mutas would not buy that much time, and his supply was in the absolute gutter. The all-in does not work. It's really supposed to surprise. Okay, well, that button doesn't work anymore.